Hello, I'm Robert Clarke. I go by Bob. This is my oral presentation requirement for Drama 40 with Professor Felino. First I want to apologize to Professor Felino because a couple of weeks ago she asked us to write down what our idea was for this project and put it on the discussion board, and I put something else. I was going to try to get 6 people together to analyze Stand By Me, but I'm finding that it's impossible to get all 6 people's schedules to align with what I want to do here. So I'm going to do this presentation instead, and hopefully it cuts the mustard for the requirement of the class. What I plan on doing is blending, synthesizing 2 of our assigned films, the first being the Zoot Suit riots and the next being American Me. And the reason I'm doing this is because they kind of go together, because American Me started with Santana's father being directly involved in the Zoot Suit riots, and I believe it had a large impact on his life, you know, going through a horrible event like he did, being beaten, his girlfriend being raped, must have had a really bad effect on his life, his lifestyle, realizing how suppressed the Hispanics were or are in LA at that time. But you know, if it was today and something like that happened and people were exposed to such violence and basically nothing being done to help them out, you know, they'd be diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder at the least. And I'm sure, you know, he didn't get any help with whatever he was feeling about society, about, you know, where he lived in general. And it may have helped if he did get help, if he was, if we knew then what we know now, to get that help. That must have affected the way he raised his children, reared his children. And being in that society, being suppressed by the majority, has to have a terrible effect. And by these films, we know it does. I really hope our society has gotten better, that they don't view things. I know there's going to be some people that do still. It's a terrible thing to suppress somebody because of their ethnic background and not giving them a good shot, a good chance at making something of their lives. With American Me, you know, with Santana being raised by somebody that was involved in what we saw in the Zoot Suit riots, you know, you could see why he had an angry father, why he had a dysfunctional family. His father was abusive, and he strayed out of the family to find a family, which was what he did with his friends. And you know, of course that all turns bad. And I think it was all a matter of circumstance, really, when they were running from the other gang and went into the store and got shot. DJ got shot, and then they ended up going into prison and being exposed to that environment in prison, which only made things worse. The one thing about the Zoot Suit riots that I would like to comment about is that I'm baffled by the fact that it's the military, really, that did that. You know, it had to be a conscious decision from leadership up above not to step in and stop what was going on. So, you know, the prejudice or whatever was going on back then, you know, went all the way to the top as far as, you know, people that were in charge of a well-disciplined military, because, I mean, we were at war and had to have a disciplined military. So, I mean, it had to be on the upper echelon of the military to put a stop to all of that, you know, restrict them to base or whatever they would have needed to do. So it's terrible to think that somebody in uniform in their own country is grabbing somebody out of somewhere and ripping their clothes off and burning them and beating people and raping people and just getting away with it. I don't think it would ever happen today. At least I hope so. I pray that it wouldn't happen today. It's just a terrible story. And with that, I know I wasn't even aware of a lot, you know, all of the films in this class, except for Stand By Me and, you know, just recently La Bamba. And I think I saw Selena, which I'll be getting on here in a little bit. But other than those three movies, all the other movies I was never even aware of. I mean, the plight of Hispanics in our society, how they're suppressed, and the prejudice involved with how they've come along in our society is crazy. You know, this class is one that I think everybody should be aware of, and you know, everybody I know, I talk to them all the time about, you know, what I'm learning here. And you know, I think society is getting better. I don't know, we'll see here with these Occupy protests, you know, things are getting pretty violent now. Hopefully it doesn't go any further than that, but I mean, society must be a little bit better. I mean, I could walk my son to school and not worry about, you know, seeing, you know, not that I'm going to be a victim or anything, but just seeing the relationship between Hispanics and African Americans and the whites in my neighborhood alone. It seems, you know, it's civil. It's really not that bad. I can't imagine, you know, back when when these films originated, from the 40s to the 70s, you know, 40s with Zoot Suit riots, and then the 70s with American Me, how you know, how people stood by and put up with that. I mean, we know that there's gang activity still going on. The homicide problem in Oakland right now is a good sign of that. But what we all need to take into account with that is the media manipulation of our society is skewed. I mean, our psyche is skewed because what makes the news is the bad news, and we hear about people being shot or, you know, whatever is going on. But if you look at the total population of America or of a city or whatever, and then, you know, bump against that number the number of crimes, the percentage is actually really low. The possibility of you being a victim of a crime is pretty low. I mean, I don't know what the statistical numbers are, but, you know, 21 homicides in Oakland on a population of, I don't even know what they have, a couple 100,000 people. It's a pretty small percentage, although it's a terrible thing. And we see that in American Me, the cycle, that the people falling in gang life is just something they can't get away from without, you know, leaving that environment. And that's probably not in their thinking, because they don't want to leave their family. Nobody wants to leave their family, so they just stay in that environment and then go through a continuous cycle of crime and incarceration, and there's really no way to get out of it. I mean, the only thing that I could think of, and who am I, but is to make sure people are educated. You know, I know there's groups out there that try to educate people not to get involved with that gang lifestyle, and you know, try to build try to convince them that they can build a better life for themselves. And I think that's working a lot, but I mean, there's still the poverty and dysfunction and abuse within families that are struggling to make it in our economy even today. I mean, back then it was a problem, and even today our economy is not helping the situation. And then once they get involved in something illegal, and then they get into that cycle of being incarcerated, as is Santana's case. Hello? Hi. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll be here. Yeah. I'm actually doing my film right now. Well, hopefully I can edit this out, but I'm like being recorded right now. Yeah. But what did Riley do? Oh, I was gonna do that. Yeah. Where did you make the appointment?